Creation is all about inspiration. And the best place to find inspiration? Anywhere, everywhere. Let me share a secret recipe. Discover an ingredient that fires your imagination. Choose other flavors to match. Find the best way to cook them. My secret recipe? Cooking without a recipe. I once spent a season as a Caribbean hotel chef and had the time of my life in the kitchen. Now and then I crave those bright vacation flavors. Let's just say I've never forgotten a few of them. I wasn't sure what I was going to do with them, but I scored a few fresh, versatile salmon fillets. These should do just fine, but I think I'll leave them chilled for now while I find my island groove. Salmon isn't really from the Caribbean, but so what? Lots of culinary tourists swim in every day. They're usually found under coconut trees drinking out of pineapples. I really enjoyed my time in the Caribbean. I learned a lot down there. The cooks are really laid back. They weren't so sure about my big city pace at first, but once I started adding allspice to everything, we got along just fine. Turns out this is the flavor of the Caribbean. It's the single most common spice in the islands. I've actually got some pre-ground. In the Caribbean, I learned to slow down and take it easy in life and the kitchen. And you can too. Try filling your kitchen with a little island groove and do some freestyle cooking. It's really pretty simple. Set the mood, turn some tunes on, and start with an island libation for yourself. But save some for your friends too. This is really just a smoothie for grown-ups because you can start your day with it, or if some rum just happens to fall in, you can end your day with it too, and maybe even start the next day. Pineapple juice. Coconut milk. Now, I watched a lot of bartenders working in the Caribbean, and none of them used recipes, because as long as you just get all these flavors into the drink, it doesn't matter how they get there. It's gonna taste good no matter how you do it. No worries. And then, of course, you put the lime in the coconut. Allspice, just a little pinch. Oh yes, maybe some vanilla. And perhaps a little more spice, some spiced rum, just for flavor, of course. I still have some cooking to do today. I can see it now. Sand, sun, supper. I better get cooking. There are many national dishes scattered throughout the Caribbean, and I better get started on at least one of them. Most of them are founded on the simple, practical nutrition of rice and beans. These are a great place to start an authentic Caribbean flavor journey. I'll start with the rice, which is easy because all you have to remember with the rice is that for every cup you use, you simply need to add 2 cups of liquid. And you can use any liquid, water, chicken stock. You can also use the bright, ripe flavor of canned tomatoes. There's more than enough liquid in here to cook off that rice. Now for the beans. Now I'm using canned black beans, but you can use whatever beans you have. But to be honest, I prefer the convenience of canned beans. But you don't have to stop there, because once the rice and beans are in, the rest is fair game. Because nothing tastes more Caribbean than allspice and peppers. But which pepper is entirely up to you. These are smoking hot habaneros, but you might prefer a sweet bell pepper, or even the entry-level heat of a Cubanelle. These are really just a pretty face. Perfect for rice and beans. Green onions tend to be the most commonly used onion in the Caribbean, but it's not like a red or a white onion has never fallen into rice and beans, so you can use whatever you have kicking around. A little last-second garnish. Actually, speaking of last-second garnish, cilantro is also a very popular herb in the Caribbean. In fact, cilantro is found all over the globe, but just like any green flavor, it's best stirred in at the very end. So I think I'll just add some of this. And now I've got a kit all set to go. And as soon as that rice comes up to a simmer and gets nice and tender, hey, it's good to go. You know, when I was a cook in the Caribbean, I really started to develop a taste for cooking without a recipe. Let's just say I learned how to relax a little and to stop worrying about whether I'm cooking the same dish the same way every time. Hey, there's no fun in that anyway. I heard a little reggae groove today. It got me thinking about my island days. So now I'm in a freestyle cooking mood and stirring some authentic Caribbean flavor into my kitchen. Somehow I ended up holding a beach drink with pineapple, coconut, and banana puree. I think some rum fell in too. And now a pot of authentic rice and beans are simmering with a few island friends. Tomatoes, peppers, and allspice. When I signed up to spend a winter as a Caribbean hotel chef, I knew it would be a good time, and it sure was. Once I landed, it didn't take me long to fill my salad bowl with balanced flavor, because you don't need a recipe or a whisk to make a simple balanced dressing. All you need is a jar, something sour, something sweet, and some oil. And for those two ingredients, I've got one ingredient. Some coconut milk, which is full of sweetness and lots of rich body. And of course, it's worth remembering that there's a ton of flavor in a lime skin. Now, no matter where you happen to be cooking, there is one simple guideline to remember for a really tasty dressing. 1 part sour, 3 parts everything else. Lime juice is just as sour as any vinegar. It makes a nice sharp dressing. 1 part sour, 3 parts everything else. Of course, the lime and the coconut isn't always enough. You can add some more island flavor too. Sharp, pungent, aromatic, frozen ginger. Really easy to grate into anything, including a dressing. This dressing won't need pepper because the ginger is fiery enough, but a little bit of salt is always a good thing. There's lots of ways to stir Caribbean flavor into a salad. Now these cilantro leaves and sliced green onions were heading for rice and bean land, but now they're taking a detour. That's a great way to jazz up a salad, and here's another way. Try shinnying up a coconut tree and making your own homemade grated coconut. Begin by piercing several of the coconut's eyes and pouring off the sweet juice inside. It's a tasty treat. Then you can crack away with some heavy-duty effort, or to simplify matters, toss the coconut into a 400-degree oven and bake it until it cracks all by itself. About 20 minutes usually does it. When it's cool enough to handle, tenderize it a bit with a hammer. Pry the flesh loose from the tough shell, peel off the brown skin, and for shreds, continue peeling away, or a standard box grater will quickly turn the works into a pile of sweet island goodness ready to play. This coconut is packed with flavor. It would taste great in the salad just the way it is. But if I toast it, then not only will I add flavor, but I'll add texture, toasty texture. Now, when you're visiting the Caribbean, you quickly figure out that you're surrounded by lots of fresh, local fruit. And there's no better place for that fruit to end up than in your salad bowl. Any fruit, really. Pineapples, bananas, papayas, or mangoes. All will add lots of colorful flavor and texture to a salad. Now with that mango perched up on top, that beautiful blend of greens in the middle, and that coconut lime dressing down on the bottom, to say nothing of that coconut toasting in the oven, this is a beautiful looking salad. In fact, I can't wait to get my fork out. Sometimes inspiration strikes at the strangest times. Like today, I heard this little island groove and it sent me straight back to the Caribbean for dinner inspiration. So now I've got a pot full of Caribbean rice and beans simmering and a colorful salad with coconut lime dressing and mangoes. When I scored this salmon yesterday, I had no idea I was going to run it down to the Caribbean. But now that we're headed there, I can't think of a better way to arrive than with a crisp coconut crust. Because no flavor reminds me of the islands more than coconut. Now I'm using a sweetened shredded coconut, but you can use whatever coconut you happen to have. The bottom line is this. The salmon is moist, so any coconut will stick to it and make a beautiful crust. So to crust it, simply toss it in the bag, toss it around for a second, and there it is, coconut crusted salmon. Well, it's actually not crusted till I cook it, but it's getting close. Now it really is that easy to crust the salmon, and it's just as easy to cook it off as long as you use your oven. In the oven, you can set it at exactly the right temperature, no worries. 375 degrees, hot enough to cook the fish through quickly, but not so hot that it will burn the sugar-laden coconut. Now that oven's going to take a few minutes to warm up, which is plenty of time to whip up a Caribbean sauce for this fish, a Caribbean salsa. Now you don't need a recipe to make a great salsa, you just need balance. Sweet and sour pineapple with sour lime, aromatic cilantro, pungent red onion, and some heat, perhaps a few drops of the scorching hot Caribbean sun, some habanero hot sauce, purely optional of course, because this bottle is full of the world's hottest pepper.
There's nothing like a little spicy heat to rev up your kitchen, but do you ever wonder why we're all so eager to stir a little pain into the pot? Well, pepper sparks the palate. It warms the tongue and wakes up the taste buds. Any chef worth their salt quickly learns that pepper, it just makes other flavors seem brighter. It's not that pepper adds more flavor, It's just that a fully attentive tongue perceives more flavor. That heat comes from chemical compounds that can singe flesh just like any other heat source. A mild dose is okay, but amp up that salsa and your body's automatic reaction to pain kicks in. Your brain starts pumping counteracting endorphins, and before you know it, a mild euphoria envelops you. That's why the first wing goes down so hot that you can't see the rest through the haze. But then your endorphin buzz kicks in, and next thing you know, you pounded down 2 dozen and you're wondering where all the wings went. Bring on the endorphins.
So no matter how you slice it, a little heat can really spice up your day, especially if it's mixed with some fresh pineapple. That should do just fine. Okay, now for some balancing flavor. I guess I'll start with this red onion. Okay, we've got the yellow, we've got the red, now for some green. Nothing makes a salsa taste more authentic than cilantro, and limes for that matter too. Now I also like to add a splash of olive oil to my salsas, just a little bit of richness to give them some body. And last but not least, a little zippity-doo-dah-day. That should do. Well, there's some heat in the salsa. Time to put some heat into that salmon. Whew. Okay, a little splash of oil. That's going to work nicely. I need to cool down, and I know exactly how I'm going to do it. With some mangoes. And some cream. Because you can take any fruit under the sun, puree it, and fold it into whipped cream for a simple treat or a fancy dessert. Mango puree is nice and thick, which makes it perfect for this dessert because it's already as thick as the cream, so it'll carry its own weight. It won't weigh down the cream. So how do you know how much cream to add? Well, what I usually do is just check out the volume of the fruit puree, and then I add an equal amount of the cream, 1-to-1 ratio. The key is to whip the cream as thickly as you can, and then simply fold the fruit right on in. Draw and fold, draw and fold. And as long as you're doing that, you're actually being very gentle with the whipped cream, and you're preserving its nice thick texture. Once this hits the refrigerator, it'll firm up nicely. Hey, you never know when inspiration is going to hit, but when it does, the best thing to do is just give in and go for it. And when you do, you just might end up with a kitchen full of Caribbean flavor, like a simple mango dessert or a coconut pineapple smoothie complete with and without rum, or a beautiful house salad inspired by the flavors of the Caribbean complete with some homemade toasted coconut. And I'm just getting started. Actually, I'm getting ready to finish one of the most popular dishes in the Caribbean, rice and beans. If I had stirred these cilantro and green onions into those rice and beans earlier, their flavor would be all gone. Now's the time to add them. Tomatoes, rice, black beans, allspice, cilantro, green onions. Talk about flavor. I used to do some pretty intricate plating when I was a Caribbean chef, but not tonight. Tonight it's all about get the flavors on the plate. Some coconut crusted salmon, perhaps? I can't wait to see if Gabe likes this. All topped off with a nice, bright, fiery hot pineapple salsa. Let's see how those rice and beans turned out. Very nice. Allspice. Love it. You know, you can find inspiration anywhere you look. The key is to be open and ready when it hits. Hey, let those ideas flow, and I guarantee you'll have a good time in life and the kitchen.
A little Caribbean night going on here?
It's Caribbean night. You want to try that side? I'll try this side.
Yeah.
How did it start?
Well, I was driving in the car and I heard this sort of reggae beat, which reminded me of cooking in the Caribbean.
Excellent. What kind of rice did you use?
Jasmine. It's not the sort of dish you sit around and worry about whether it's authentic or not. You just get rice and beans in the pot and you're done. So which one do you want? Blue, yellow, or green?
Green.
You're the green man?
Yeah.
Okay.